welcome to the Knits In by Denine podcast. My name is Denine, and I have been gone for a long time. And the reason being is that I've been in summer school, and I've also recently got a new job. I am now a Starbucks barista, so yay! Went from working at Coffee Bean in the airport to Starbucks, so looks like it's the barista life for me until I graduate, and I'm really excited about that. Anyway, I don't have a whole lot finished because I have been focused on school and my training, but I do have some progress, and I thought I wanted to share it because it has been a really long time. And I also found a couple things and made something that I really do want to show. Well, actually, no, as of right now I only have one item that I acquired, not a couple, but I have made some things that I do want to show. So the first thing I'm going to do is show works in progress, and I haven't gotten a whole lot of work done on it. This is my Worthington Gamzee. I talked about it in the last podcast. I've started working, I've gotten to the point where you separate the front and back because it starts up knit in the round, and then you start working, I think the back is first. So I'm working on that, and as you can see, I've done one entire section of this chart. You repeat this chart until this until this piece of the sweater is 7.5 inches long. This is going to be the armpit. So the sweater is knit in one piece until you get to, I should say, just below the chest, and then you work at the armpit and for my pattern size, until it's 7.5 inches, and then you turn to the back, so it's worked in the round and then back and forth on one side, back and forth on the other. Then you attach the shoulders, and I think you pick up and knit the sleeves. I haven't read that far ahead, but looking at the pattern, it's kind of what it looks like they've done. They've just picked up the stitches on the side of the armpit and knit the sleeves from there. I'm really happy with the way this sweater has turned out. I really like it, and I know it's not like the best yarn in the world, but Pound of Love is just so soft. I love it. I really do. I'm actually working on another sweater in Pound of Love, and I just really like the way it feels. And as you can see, small details show up really nicely in Pound of Love. It's really soft. It's not at all itchy. I just really like it. I really like this yarn, and it comes in so many colors. Alright. So the next thing I'm going to show is was supposed to be my submission to the As Seen on TV Cal, which I shouldn't have joined it. I was just really excited to work with my friend Kanisha from the Quirky Monday podcast. She's a very nice person, and this was the first knit along that I've ever participated in. I was just really excited about it, and I was like, who better, to knit along with than somebody who I admire and enjoy talking to online and watching her podcast. We decided to make a cardigan, a child's cardigan that I saw in the movie Amélie. And so this sweater is the sweater that she was wearing in the beginning when they were showing her childhood, when she was sitting on the roof messing with that man who told her that it was her, that her little camera was the reason that a car accident that took place in front of her happened. He convinced her that her taking the picture caused the accident, and so she climbed up on his roof when he was watching a soccer game, and anytime something important would happen, she would unplug the antenna so his TV would go into the snowy static, and that he was so upset. It was really funny, really cute. And so I decided to knit the sweater for my niece Ella, and Ella she's a very knit-worthy person, and she really likes it when you knit stuff for her. And she's tiny, so her anything you knit for her is a really quick knit, and so I do really enjoy knitting for my youngest niece. My oldest niece is more like, she'll ask you to make stuff for her, but I think she's doing it because she thinks you want to, and then she won't wear it because she'll say, it's too hot, or she even said her mom wouldn't let her wear hats, but I don't know what it is. She might just not, some people don't really want like handmade, homemade things, and that just might be it. She just might want store-bought stuff, so that's fine. But Ella, she loves having stuff knit for her. So I started the sweater, and she actually came and stayed with us for part of the beginning of the summer. And every time she saw it, she was like, "Are you gonna finish my sweater?" Or she would say, "Fix." She would say, "Can you fix my sweater?" Because I told her that I was making it for her. And I was like, "Ella, I'm doing my homework. I can't do it." She's like, "You can fix my sweater." And she would, like, every time she saw it, she would bring it up. And I felt bad because I did want to have it finished while she was here. She's still in town, but she's visiting her other grandma. My mom is one of her grandmas. My sister-in-law, her mom is her other grandma. So she's visiting her other grandma right now. And I might be able to finish this before she goes back to LA and send it with her. And I made it. It is a 4T and Ella is 4, but she's a very, very skinny 4. And so, she's very skinny for being 4 years old. Her 4T clothes are very baggy on her. She's really hyperactive and she doesn't eat like a whole lot. So I figured this would last her until it gets cold. I think, if anything, it would end up being short before it was too small. But since this is something that I could see her more wearing with dresses than with like pants, I don't think it would be a super big deal if it was a little short. But so this is what the design looks like on it. It has like a little bit of like a garter, and then it has little eyelet lace design with like a slip stitch in the center, and then back to the garter. And this is, it was really hard to pause the section that I got the sweater from, because she was not wearing the sweater for a very long time in the movie. It was really hard to kind of get like a good look at the sweater. So I'm not sure if this is exactly what it looked like, but to me that's what it looked like. It looked like this garter and eyelet, so that's what I did. And it did have a collar, so I put a collar on it, and I have to stretch this because I did measure it out and everything, and made sure that it fit properly. But as it's sat here, it's kind of started to like shrink back up, and it kind of looks small and a little nervous. So I'm gonna try and see if I can get it to stretch out and stay the size that I want it to be. I might be able to block it, but I'm not sure since this is not wool. And even though I'm not buying new wool, most of my projects I've just noticed that most of my projects have been knit out of wool, my finished items anyway, because before I stopped buying wool. I bought a lot of it when I was working at Joann's and from secondhand stores and things. So like the first sweater I ever knit for myself was made out of wool ease, and I was still able to block it. And then I had a few more things that I've knit out of wool. So I actually don't have as much experience with finishing acrylic things as I thought I did. I don't know. I finished like acrylic hats and stuff, but I think that's about it. I'm not sure. I have to look back because I'm one that's I'm a cast on queen. I think that's what you call it. I cast on a lot of things, and then I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I like that, and then I'll just like take it out. So I've started a lot of projects in acrylic, but I've not finished a lot of projects in acrylic. So I'll see if I can work with that collar. But I know that I'll find out what to do it if I have to try and figure out a way to extend down the sides. I'll do it. The next items I'm very happy about because I have talked about this with on the podcast before with you guys. Somebody reminded me in the comments in one of my podcasts that I could use the cheaper acrylics that I don't really like the way they look and feel so much anymore. I was just buying them so that I could practice knitting when I first learned. She said that I could use them to knit for charity. And that is exactly what I've decided to do. And she reminded me that I had a little folder on Pinterest where I was just finding all these interesting looking free knit hat patterns and scarf patterns that I wanted to knit for people in need. And so I called it hospital hats because at the time I was thinking I would knit the hats for cancer patients. But now I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to not knit them for them, but I kind of want to make things for different groups of people. So like finding charities that are accepting hats and just like helping out as many groups as I can, because I have a lot of yarn and these hats are so quick to knit. So the first hat that I knit, I finished this at the very end of last semester. In my class, actually. This was a project that I worked on almost exclusively when I was working as a teacher's aide, because I was a TA for a cinema class, and so a lot of my work was done at the very beginning and the very end of class, because I was passing out papers and collecting them and alphabetizing them. So this is the hat. It has a very long brim and I'm really happy with it. I did not finish the tail. I have to weave that in, but this is what it looks like, and it's I think that this will fit a lot of different sizes, so I kind of want to make more things like this, because I don't want to make something that can only be used for specific, I want it to be as helpful as possible. So like if they have somebody that would grow with the hat, I think this would be good, because unstretched, this can fit a child, but stretched, it can fit an adult, So I kind of want to make more of these. So the name of this hat, the name of the pattern that I used to knit this hat is Ribs and Cable. This is the Ribs and Cable beanie, and I really enjoyed it. The pattern was very quick and easy, it's very intuitive, and I love the way it finished up. I love the way the 2x2 kind of like, came together. It looks really nice. I've seen some ribbed and cabled hats where when you finish them, you kind of just finish them off in the same way that you finish a regular non-ribbed hat, and it doesn't always look nice. So I was really happy with the way they took the time to make it come to a point in a really beautiful way. I just really like this hat, so I'm going to make this again in a few more colors. And this hat, yes, so I did not have a pattern for this hat. I drafted it for my dad originally, but my dad, I wanted to make something for him just because he's my dad and I love him and I wanted him to have something. But my dad is someone who is always hot, so I don't think it was practical to try to knit him a hat. So I think instead I'll just, put this in my bin of hospital hats. But it's a very basic stockinette beanie, the 2x2 rib. But this one is slouchy. So I wanted to do different styles. I know there are some people who have a lot of hair that they want to keep up, and then there are people who don't have as much, so they can, wear the smaller, thinner hats. So this is what I made for people in that group. And then for this group, this is kind of a larger hat, which can also be slouchy, and I don't know how to feel about this one. I don't like the way the cabled section started to look when you, as you started to decrease. And I don't know if this was my mistake, because I don't remember in the pattern it specifically making sure that you avoided the cable motif until it was time to close up the hat, because some patterns do that so that your cable can continue up all the way to the top, and I don't think this one did. And I went to go look at the other finished projects to see if anybody else encountered the same issue, and nobody would show you the top of the hat in their finished object picture. So I don't know if this is just me, but this is what it looks like at the top, and I don't like it. I mean, I know I'm knitting for necessity, not for look, but I do want to give people nice things. I don't want to give them things that look janky and messed up, so I don't know. And it might not be that bad. It might just be because I made it that I don't like it, but I don't like the way it just, you can see where you started the decreases, because what you were supposed to do is count a certain number of stitches and then, decrease, count a certain number of stitches and decrease, just like you do in the average plain stockinette hat. But I feel like the way it was set up, there was enough space that I thought, maybe I can continue the cable motif all the way up until I get to the top of the cable and then close it in, and it will look nice. It seemed like it would, and I did follow the pattern exactly, and then this is how it turned out, so I don't know. It could have been my mistake. This is called the Timber Trail hat, and the pattern for this one was really quick too. It was one of those things where it's like straight stockinette for most of it, almost all of it. You have just a few stitches of cabling and that's it. So it was really, really quick. And it was one of those things that I could do without really thinking about it, so that's why I finished these. So the items that I finished are the least difficult of the items that I had going on, because I didn't have a whole lot of time to dedicate to sit and read, a chart or a pattern and just kind of like work on that with giving it my full attention. These things I could be reading from my ebook and knitting in my lap, So this is why I finished these things, and I'm going to try to cast on more items like this because I really do want to get as much done as possible before it gets cold, because I know there are some people who do need hats year round depending on what their condition is, but I think a majority of people are going to need them when it gets cold, especially people with compromised immune systems who would really need to be warm to keep their body temperature up high enough, to fight off germs and things. So I want to get as much done as possible. So for now I just have these 3, but I do have a lot in plans. I have queued a lot of just very simple free hat projects that are really pretty. I'm going to start working on those soon. But like I said, this one is definitely going to be knit again in many colors because I really, really like it. And I might make one for myself and for my boyfriend because he really likes. I made him a Lake Reed hat and he loved it, and it looks really nice on him. He looks good in cables. So I'm going to make one for him too. I kind of did this out of order. I've kind of been out of the swing of things. I know that people usually do works in progress and finished objects, but I just showed you a couple of finished objects, and I have another work in progress to show you. So please excuse me. I haven't gotten my knitting legs back or my knitting podcast legs back, but anyway, this is my Mercury sock, and I've showed you this a few times. I finished the first one, and I have been working on the second one. I've been taking this with me to force myself to work on it because this has just been sitting on the needles for a ridiculous amount of time, and there's no reason that I shouldn't have them finished. So I've turned the heel on my second sock, and now I'm just working on the foot of the sock, and I'm at the point where a lot of the stitches left, like half of the stitches left, are going to be knit straight in stockinette, so it's going to be even faster knit. So I should be able to finish this definitely before the next podcast if I'm keeping to the schedule that I've set for myself, which is basically any time that I'm sitting and like on lunch breaks or like breaks from my studying, that I will work on this because I really do want to finish it soon. So this is what it looks like as of right now. And another reason that I really want to finish this right now is because this size needle is needed for my Clark sock. I have a Clark sock, one finished, and I need to start another one, but I can't because these needles are being used, and I don't want to buy another pair of this exact same size just for, knitting this one pair of sock. I'm trying not to buy things that I don't need, so I need to hurry up and finish this. I made my Clark sock, and then I was like, I had this one Mercury sock already finished, and then I went on to another sock. I need to finish this one, so I've been just jumping back from these 2 pairs, but I need to get this done because I want to finish my Clark sock. I really enjoyed knitting that, and I'm super excited to see what hair will look like. And I'm not sure who I'm giving those to. I don't remember if I said I was making them for myself, but they're very thick, very heavy wool, and I don't feel bad about keeping wool that I bought before I decided not to buy it, like keeping things that I have made, but I can't say that I would use them. They would just be sitting going to waste in my drawer because they're so thick. I can tell that they're going to be super hot, and I am kind of like my dad. I'm usually like warmer than the average person, so saying that I'm going to wear heavy wool socks is a little a little far-fetched for me. I could wear these because they are very breathable, and even though I don't think they're 100% wool, they feel a lot like the acrylic yarns that I have. So I don't see these as being like super hot, uncomfortable socks. And so I might keep these, or I might give them to my aunt who wears the same shoe size as me, because she does like knitting. She is actually learning how to knit, so it's really exciting. I have 2 relatives that I know of right now who know how to knit, and it's super awesome. So I'm trying to keep on track. So let's see, I've shown you my finished objects, and then I've jumped back to works in progress because that's what I've started on. So I have one more work in progress. So this is a sweater that I started working on recently, I wanted it to be a no stress project. I didn't want myself to dread like starting this thinking that it was going to be just like something that was just adding to my to-do list. I wanted it to be something that was fun because I really like the sweater and it's color work, and I haven't done color work in a long time, but it's a very simple pattern. The color work is very simple, so I think it's something that I can do very easily and very quickly without having to stress out about it. And that is actually, if I'm being honest, I'm not necessarily a procrastinator. But if I look at something and think, oh my gosh, that's just another thing that I have to do, I will avoid it because it stresses me out, and I don't want my hobby to become a stressor. So I'm trying to cast on things like that I really want to knit and that don't make me feel that way, and this is one of them. I never look at this and feel that way because I have told myself that that is not what this is. This is something that I'm going to be knitting for fun, not because I have a deadline to meet. So this, and I have to look at the pattern name because I just started it and I do not remember. It is from this magazine, the Interweave, let's see, Winter 2016, which is where my Worthington Gamzee is also from. This has been the most useful knitting magazine that I've gotten so far. I've started 2 sweaters from this book, and I've planned 2 more, I think. I really like the sweaters in this magazine, which is actually kind of rare because I don't usually like very many patterns from the magazines. I honestly think I get them because I think it's fun to look through them in the same way that some women enjoy looking through gossip magazines. That's what knitting magazines are for me. It's like, oh, that's cute. Who designed this? What? And then they always have really interesting articles, little tricks with knitting that you would have never thought to do. So I do read them for that, but I don't always like the patterns. So I was pleasantly surprised with this one. There are 18 patterns in here, and most of them are sweaters, and they're really good. So the one that I have cast on, second one, is the Hawkhurst sweater, I think is what it's called. And this is what it looks like. I don't know if you can see that. And it is also knit in Pound of Love. And I know a lot of people like to roll their yarn, but I just find it so satisfying to be able to knit as much as possible from the ball for some reason, because I don't like having little like small balls left of yarn with like little short segments, and that tends to happen to me more often if I ball the yarn. And since this is not something I necessarily want to work on outside of the house, I want my socks to be my outside of the house knitting. I don't feel bad about not taking this off, not winding the yarn ahead of time. And also, because my ball winder is broken, the clamp broke, and I don't know how to fix it, and I don't know how to order the parts because I didn't buy this. I got this as a gift. I don't know if I need to use the specific brand to make sure that this fits. I don't know if they tell you how many millimeters wide this is or whatever. I don't know what to do. So if any of you have ever had this problem, please help me, because I do miss my ball winder, but I can't use it. Or if I do, I have to have it in between my legs, squished so hard that I'm leaving imprints and dents in my legs and it hurts. But if I have to do it, then I will. But I try not to, so that's another reason that I didn't win this. But if any of you know how to reorder parts for ball winders, please help me, because I would hate to get rid of that entire thing just because the little clamp is broken. The rest of it is perfectly fine, Anyway, I'm really excited to knit this, and this will be my first shawl collar, I think. Yeah, I started on John's sweater. I think it was called Annis Griven or something. It was an English name. Please don't make fun of my pronunciation. But I started that one in its shawl collar, but the problem is that I bought that sweater quantity of yarn before I knew what I was going to do with it, because I was being impulsive and it was on sale. And I read the balls and saw how much I needed, and for his size, it was seeming like it was going to be enough. The pattern made it seem like that was going to be enough, but it was a different yarn. So I guess I have to take that into consideration, because when I started to knit it up, I think I'd gone through 2 or 3 balls of yarn just doing half of the back and part of one of the sleeves. And I was thinking, I am just eating through this yarn. I'm not going to have enough for this whole sweater, because I've barely gotten any done, and I've already gone through like almost half of it. And so I asked him if he would want to choose a different yarn, so we're going to work on that. We're going to find a different yarn. But it's funny because he's like me. He feels the pound of love, and he's like, I would love a sweater out of this. It's so soft and squishy. And like, he felt this. This is so soft and stretchy and squishy. It feels so nice. It does not feel like what I typically think of when I think of acrylic, because when I think of acrylic yarn, it always, the first thing that comes to mind is Red Heart Super Saver, and it tends to be inconsistent, and for some reason I always get the ball that has that hard scratchy yarn in the center, but the outside feels soft, so I'm thinking I've chosen the right one. You know what I'm talking about if you ever bought that yarn. Sometimes it feels like it's been melted, so it feels like there's hard plastic pieces in the yarn. And for whatever reason, when I buy one, I feel it. I check to see if it's like that, but I still end up getting the ones that are like that. I very rarely get one that's completely soft all the way through. So this feels like heaven to me. I love this yarn, and it's only $9.99 for a pound of yarn. It's amazing. I get distracted. I'm sorry. So anyway, that's going to be my first shawl pattern sweater. It's going to be the first color work that I've done in a long time. I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to finish it. And I'm so proud of myself for not allowing myself to be stressed out about it, because I stress about the littlest things. Like, if you knew how much thought I had to put into changing my phone case, like, you'd probably call me crazy. Every decision that I make is a big decision because I overthink things. So I always have a black wallet case, a black wallet cell phone case that I've gotten. Every time I get a new phone, I get the same case, always. And my best friend's mom gave me her cell phone last year because she got a new one and she hadn't used it for very long, and I didn't need one. She's so nice. So she gave me her cell phone and she offered to buy me a case, and I chose my black wallet case, and she looked at it and she was like, you sure you don't want a different one? And I said, no, I'm good with that one. And so she put this in the cart, which is the exact same case but in pink, and she bought it for me. I didn't know she did it until it got there, and I was really grateful, but I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to use that because it's just different. And so my black wallet case started to fall apart, and I was thinking about getting a new one, and I was like, why would I buy a new one when I have one perfectly good case in my house right now that I can just switch to? But then I was like, oh, it's pink and shiny, and it doesn't look like what I'm used to. I don't want to draw attention to myself. That is one of the big things that I consider when I do anything, is this is going to draw unwanted attention to me. And in my mind, having a shiny pink case is like a beacon that everyone is going to see and stare and make me uncomfortable. I don't know why. And so it took me a really long time to decide to switch to this case, and guess what happened? Nothing changed. It was not a big deal, and I was being dramatic for no reason. But that's who I am. I overthink things. So anyway, another rant over. So as far as sewing goes, I still haven't found a solution to that problem with my jeans and the waistband gaping in the back, and I'm afraid to cut into it because the jean material is kind of expensive. So I'm just going to wait until I can figure out how to fix that before I go on with it. But I did make a very small project bag for socks that I'm really happy with. I bought a lot of fabric in just small quantities so that I could do two-tone bags like this, where I take like a heavy canvas or outdoor fabric and make it the base because that's where it gets the most wear. Then I take a cotton fabric that I line with interfacing, and then I put a different color, slightly lighter usually, on the inside. And then that really big pack of zippers that I got online that I think I talked about in my last podcast, I've used, and I really, really like these zippers. I can't believe they were so cheap. It's amazing. I got like a wholesale price. And then the zipper pull, I really like. And this wasn't actually made to be a zipper pull. It was like some type of scrapbooking thing. Like, when you go to Joann's, you usually see like little baskets of scrapbooking, like stickers and like little decals and things like that. This was kind of in a package like that. But it's it's like a little metal coin, almost like a washer. I don't know how to describe it, but it's metal. It's half dipped in paint and it has a hole in it, so I can't imagine what you would use this for in a scrapbook. But these were so cheap. think they were 72 cents. Like, for some reason I took the sticker off. I think I was trying to see how much it was originally, because there were like 3 or 4 sale stickers. I wanted to see how much it had gone down over time, because it was originally $4. And so I've gotten 6 of this. This is lime green. This is like a teal almost. This is like a baby blue. This is a red orange, and then this is like hot pink. And some of them kind of look like they've dripped, or it looks like they had a painter's tape on it and the paint seeped under it is kind of the best way to describe it. But I actually like that because it makes it look like they were hand painted, and I like this. So I'm going to make more project bags. I made this one for myself because I only have one sock bag. You saw it. It's a little drawstring bag. So I use that as my sock bag, but I want to have another one. So I got this one. I made this one, and I really like it. The next thing that I've gotten recently has absolutely nothing to do with knitting or sewing or anything, but I think it's really cool, so I'm going to show you. So my boyfriend was in Australia for 2 weeks. He just got back on Sunday, I think. I don't know, he hasn't been back for very long. Today is Tuesday. But he brought me back this scarf, and I love it. It's supposed to look like it was designed by Aborigines, and it's so beautiful. It's made out of polyester. It's 100% polyester. I don't know if you can see all the design. It says Australia, rescue. It says good day. There is a picture of an Aborigine, which I really appreciate people acknowledging them since they were there first. An emu, and a shark, and the Sydney Opera House, and a koala, and a kangaroo. And like, this is so beautiful. There's just so much to it. And if you've ever wondered what this was, he actually told me that the dots that Aborigines draw on their art, that's supposed to symbolize people. I did not know that. So it's almost like an aerial view of all of their people, and all the different colors, I think, symbolizing different personalities and different people. But I never knew what that meant, and so I'm really excited to know that. I think it's pretty cool. And he also brought back a boomerang and some other things. He brought 2 for my nieces, and I'm afraid they're going to break something. But he brought back some really nice things. Another thing that I found I'm really excited about is this. A design book that I got from a thrift store for $2.50. It's the Knitter's Design Journal. And there is absolutely nothing in it. This person bought it and never used it. All of the pieces are here, including my receipt. So you have your gauge, it checks your gauge and check your needle sizer, and then it gives you directions for how to choose your gauge. There are some basic conversions on the back. There's a ruler. They have the centimeters on one side, inches on the other. And then you have little graph pages where you can draw your design and write things out. You can do little charts if you want to. There are a few pages of this, quite a few. See? And then they even have, the pages in the back have smaller grid graph paper, so you can do even more intricate designs. And then back here, you can, look at these standard body measurement charts, which are so helpful. I have to look these up every single time I knit. I bookmark them, and then the blog that I bookmark disappears, because I guess knitting blogs are just in and out all the time. So it's a struggle. She has formulas. She has different types of ribbing listed here. She has like a yarn weight chart, a picture of what they look like knit up. There's so much in this book. And even I think this is where your inventory, needle inventory. So you can mark down which needles that you have, and I really like that. You can inventory your yarn stash, and you can tape a piece of the yarn there, is what it says, which is really cool. If any of you have ever taken a sewing or design class in a college, we had to do that. In my clothing construction class, I didn't get to stay in it because I changed my major, but we bought this book, and then we would cut up pieces of fabric and glue them into the book, and then we would write the name of the fabric, and we would talk about the fabric, like what are its attributes, Is it woven? Is it knit? How does it feel? Is it animal, plant, or synthetic? You know, and it was really, really fun. I really enjoyed that part of the class. Let's see what else. There is an area where you can put pictures of things that you have completed. So this is where you can log your projects, although you kind of do that in Ravelry. I think it's still fun to have a little book, a little journal of what you knit. And then here are things that you want to make, so you can plan ahead. You can plan your projects ahead. I really like this thing. I was so excited to see this, and it's so funny because I went into that section of the store where their book section. It's actually a little room. The only room in the thrift store is they have books in there. The rest of it, you know, is just a big store, like the big, you know, main store. So I went in there just to look for recipe books because I am really into trying new recipes, and finding them online is great. But I'm getting so tired of the pop-ups on the websites and things, and the ads, and I know people, you know, like depend on the revenue and stuff, but to me it just makes my mind feel kind of cluttered. You know how they say that your outside is a reflection of the inside, so if your house is messy, then your mind is probably. Well, when I watch things that have a lot of commercials and stuff, I feel that way. It's like I can't focus on things. I get really distracted, I get forgetful, and it's like I feel like I have so much on my mind that I can't focus. And so I feel like having books sometimes, instead of looking on websites or having magazines, especially because like 30% of your magazine is advertisements. I think it really helps me. So I've been trying to focus more on having books, and I do have a lot of books, as you can see, but I want more. I like books. So I think that's all I have to show for today. Yes, I do. I think that's all. I think that's it. Let me see. Yep. I think I've shown everything. But, I did find something. I thought about doing a small giveaway for my subscribers because my channel is very small, but everyone that comments is super caring and involved, and I really appreciate them. And so I kind of want to do I want to start doing giveaways for my channel. Not saying that I think it's going to become this big channel, but like while it's small, because the likelihood of people who actually really care winning something is really high, and I like that. I want to give back to people who have shown me that they care, you know. So I found something. I don't want to show because I don't know. I want it to be kind of like exciting and a surprise, but I'm also super excited to show this thing, so I might just show it. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm just going to show it. So I found this really cool Knitter's Pride needle accessory case that I got on sale from Hobby Lobby for ridiculously cheap, but it's amazing. I got one for myself with similar color pattern. You can see they're both navy and white. I got this one. This was $5 at Hobby Lobby, and this is a circular needle holder, which is it's been saving my life. My circular needles were just kind of sitting in pockets on this wall hanging thing, and they would get all tangled up, and I just didn't even want to deal with them. And so this is so nice. I really like things being organized and neat. I'm very much a neat freak. So I really appreciate having all of my things organized and right where I can see them. I know exactly where they are when I want them, and then I know exactly where to put them when I'm done. I really appreciate that. It has these little pockets. I'm not sure what these are for, but it's set up pretty much like a binder or like a Bible case. If any of you have ever had one of the cloth zippered Bible cases, it's very similar to that. But it has little binder pockets that you zip and unzip. And then it fits on my bookshelf perfectly, and it actually fills an annoying space that bothered me on my bookshelf like perfectly. I have 2 cloth baskets on each shelf of my small case where I keep my yarns, and then So the top shelf has my yarn in 2 baskets and books related to knitting, and then the second shelf has baskets of fabric and then books related to sewing. And the space left on my knitting shelf was bothering me, and this fills it perfectly, and I really like it. So I can just sit on my shelf, not taking up space in that crazy crafting closet that I need to sort out. And I love it. And so I figured this one somebody would love, because you can put different types of needles in here. This one is mainly for circular, but this has space for your double pointed needles, this has a space for your straight needles, and for your interchangeable needles. So you can have all your needles together if you would like. And I'm pretty sure it has pockets too. So let me read the description. It says it's made from hand block printed cotton, intelligently designed to store most types of knitting needles and crochet hooks. Transparent pockets provided to store those little extra. Zippered case to keep all content secure. And it's just so pretty. I haven't opened this because it's not mine to open, but it says, so the outside is 100% cotton and the inner fabric is 100% polyester. And it is Knitter's Pride brand. I was amazed that this was so cheap. I'm going to keep going back to their clearance section because Hobby Lobby has really good sales. I do prefer to go to Joann's because the Hobby Lobby in my town, at least, there are only a handful of employees that are super friendly, and the rest of them just kind of like, they look like they hate everybody and everything, and so I tend to avoid them. But so I don't like the tone in our Hobby Lobby, but they have really good sales, and I'm a starving student, so I do need the sales. If I'm going to be buying something I don't need, it needs to be cheap. I don't absolutely need, it needs to be cheap. So I got this for $5. That one was for $7.50, and I'm going to keep going back. I'm going to keep going back and see if I can pile up some things for a giveaway to show my appreciation. And I do want to give away more than one little gift package. So I'll talk about that more in the future. But I hope you enjoyed this little mess of me getting my bearings back, because I have not been on my channel in a very long time. I haven't been on my channel in over a month, and that bothers me. I'm going to try to, while I have a little bit of free time, because I have a couple days off, I'm going to try to make some content that I can just like kind of have for the future, because I do feel bad about treating my channel like it's, just kind of like setting my channel to the side, even though I am truly busy. I'm not just, like avoiding my channel or just like not paying attention to it. I have been really busy with my new job and school, and I still love my channel and I still want to do my podcast. It makes me happy. I want to participate in the knitting community. This is probably one of the only communities that I really belong to online, because the vegan community is really, really big, and I feel like it can be a little cliquey, but I feel like knitting community is a little, I don't know, it's okay to have a bunch of friends online, like they're like small little groups, you know what I mean? I know of a lot of knitting podcasters that are friends with each other, and they're very different people, very different lifestyles, very different fiber favorites and things like that, and they all get along just fine. I really love that. So I want to develop a presence in the knitting community so that I can be a part of it and enjoy all of the wonderful people that are in it. So I want to pay more attention to my channel, and that's what I'm going to try to do throughout the next. I'm going to try to start it this month, but I want to continue it on throughout, So anyway, thank you for watching this crazy podcast. While I get things back kind of into order the way they were. I tried to do a podcast once a month, but I feel like when I do that, since I'm not getting a whole lot done anyway, it feels like I'm not paying enough attention to my channel. So I feel like if I set smaller goals for like things I need to finish during the week, and do like a podcast multiple times a month, like twice a month maybe, I think it'd be better if I just did a shorter podcast twice a month. And I have talked about this in the past, possibly doing this, but I think that's what I'm going to do. I think it'd be better. And I can show like my hospital hats, because those are things I'm going to be finishing regardless of how much time I have, because I can take them with me. So I'm going to be talking probably mainly about the hospital hats and socks, because I do have a lot of sock yarn that I need to go through. I should finish Ella's little Amelie sweater sometime this month, so within the next podcast I'll have it finished, hopefully before she leaves, so I can get a picture of her wearing it. She's so cute, and she looks so cute in knit stuff. I posted a picture of her in her little flax lavender, and I think people really like that because she's so pretty. So I'm going to try to get a picture of her in that sweater before she goes. And that's all. I think I've already dismissed myself once, but I'll do it again. Thank you so much for watching this podcast. Thank you for supporting me and being patient while I do all the things that I'm trying to do to get my life started as a young person. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in my next podcast. Thank you so much. Bye.